Good morning, everybody. My name is Mike Rose. I work in admissions for CCAC. I am headquartered out of the South Campus. However, I represent the whole college. And we have a number of different locations and so forth. So I'm here today to talk with you a little bit about CCAC, hopefully make you more familiar with and or comfortable with taking a strong look at it as your choice for higher education. So what I'm going to do for you today is, in order to give you a better understanding, I have a PowerPoint presentation that covers most of the major points that you should know about. And I'll do that, run through that, and then following the conclusion of the PowerPoint presentation, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and I'll go straight to the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen. I'm going to put it in presentation mode. Okay, can everybody see it? Just give me a holler if you can. Okay, so again, we want to welcome you to Community College of Allegheny County, AKA CCAC. This slide presentation is not real long, but it covers most of the high points. So hopefully, it'll be meaningful to you. So first thing, in terms of location, and sometimes people get tripped up over this, but we have a map here. So maybe by looking at the map, it'll give people a clear understanding about locations and so forth. So we have 4 campuses, and they're represented by the large red dots you see on the slide here. So South Campus, where I'm talking to you from right now, that's located in West Mifflin. Boyce Campus is located in Monroeville, not too far from Boyce Park. If you're familiar with Boyce Park area in Monroeville, we have another campus up in the North Hills section of Allegheny County. That's known, oddly enough, as the North Campus. Okay. And then also the bigger dot in the middle is our Allegheny campus. Okay. And a lot of people see that as being our main campus because it was our first campus. It is our largest campus. It is our urban campus. Some people call it the mothership because it's the largest of the 4 campuses, but those are our 4 campus locations. In addition, we have 4 satellite sites, or what we call college centers. Okay, and those 4 they're represented by the smaller red dots. Braddock Hills Center, which is up in the Braddock Hills, right up over top of the Forest Hills area, right off Ardmore Boulevard. In the eastern end of the city of Pittsburgh, at the Homewood-Brushton area, we have the Homewood-Brushton Center. And then to the west, out near very close proximity to the mall at Robinson area. If we have any shoppers out there, I'm sure you know where that is. That is our West Hill Center. That's where nearly all of our trades programs are located. Okay, and then finally down in the green portion, actually outside of Allegheny County, we have a site that's been down in Washington County. It's been there for about 15 years or so. And it services people who are interested in CCAC but live in the county of Washington. So those are our sites. As far as the differences between them, the campuses are full service and the centers are smaller, more like neighborhood focused sites where you're able to take classes, but they don't have the same range of services as the campuses do. Okay, we have another campus, and this is one you can't see or feel, but you can experience, and that would be our virtual campus. Okay, and that's, of course, has to do with taking classes online. We offer hundreds of classes every term online that you can take. We also have 32 different degrees, certificates, and diplomas that you can start and finish entirely online. In addition to that, we have another 36 programs that you can take mostly online. So between the 2 formats, there's a pretty big cross section of programs that you can take with us either all online or mostly online. Okay, in terms of programs, we have probably the highest variety or number of programs in the area. We have about 160 different programs of study. It covers 6 different career paths or clusters, if you want to think of it in those terms. We got arts and humanities, you got business, education, social and behavioral sciences, human services, excuse me. Also, one of our big areas that's quite popular right now is our health careers area. And then in addition to that, we have a lot of programs that fall within STEM, which, as you all know, means science, technology, engineering, and math. And then finally, we have a large contingent of programs that fall under the skilled trades. Okay, now, when people come to CCAC, essentially, they come for 2 major reasons. There's a whole cadre of other reasons people might come to CCAC, but the 2 biggest ones boil down to coming to learn some skills that allow you to go out and get a good job, or coming in preparation for, exploring a bachelor's degree. Okay, so let's talk about the career part of it. So our major emphasis as far as the programs that are set up for you to go into a career are in the healthcare area. That's one of our big ones. Business, CIT or computer information technology, STEM, as I mentioned before, and the skilled trades. And those are all, these are programs that you go into when you're finished and you're ready to go to work. Okay, other things that we offer, and this is for students who are currently in high school, we have something of interest for you, and that would be our dual enrollment program. Okay, and that allows sophomores, juniors, or seniors in good standing to be eligible to take classes with us. And you can take those classes before, during, or after school, at your high school or online. Okay, and I guess whenever the pandemic's over, you can actually take them on campus. How and when and where you take the classes can be a function of what your high school allows you to do. Some high schools don't want students to take classes during the day or to leave the premises. Others are okay with it. So it all depends on what your particular school's policy is in that regard. Okay, now I mentioned about the 2 reasons people come to CCAC, and I told you one was to learn skills to get a good paying job. The other major reason, as I mentioned, was to come on your way to earn a bachelor's degree. And so if you want to earn a bachelor's degree, you get involved in what they call transferable credits. Okay, and we have what we call program-to-program articulation agreements with the 14 universities in the state system. And state system, if you're not familiar, means the Pennsylvania state colleges and universities. I guess they're all universities now. And that would be places like Cal U, locally, it would be like Cal U, Edinburgh, Slippery Rock, Clarion, and then there's 11 other ones. I'm sorry, 11, what is it? 4 from whatever that number is, 7 others, I'm sorry. Okay, and at those institutions, we have like contracts with them where they agree to take all the credits that you earn at CCAC toward bachelor's degrees at those institutions. And that's what's known as articulation, program-to-program articulation. We also have other articulation agreements with a number of different colleges and universities. And I believe there's 38 public and private colleges and universities that take our credits. And there's actually more than that, but these are the ones that we have set agreements with. Okay. Then finally, most recently, we have a new thing going on with Robert Morris University. This comes online on August 1st. And this is going to enable students to take classes both at Robert Morris and at CCAC at the same time. Okay, another thing new that we're trying to make people aware of is somewhat of a commitment that the college is making. and we want to share this with you. And that would be CCAC is making a commitment to care. We always have, but we're doubling down on our commitment to care. Also, we want to serve the whole community with a focus on social justice. I'm sure everyone knows what all the things that are going on right now in a negative nature. We want to make sure that we're focusing on the things that are going to help society with respect to equitable treatment and things of that nature. We got a commitment to build a culture of equity on campus, commitment to identify and dismantle campus structures that breed disparities. And then we have a commitment with fund what matters most. And what that means is if there are things that come about that seem to be important and that will give value to the public at large or our student bodies and so forth, we're not going to hesitate to put money towards it. Okay, another thing that I want to talk about real briefly is we want you to know that CCAC is a very good value, and in being so, it's going to help you stay out of debt. And if you weren't aware, we're the least pricey or lowest priced institution in Pennsylvania in terms of tuition and fees. Just recently though, I just found out, I think there are two other institutions that have slightly lower tuition, $3 or $4 difference, but pretty much, and this varies year to year, but we're still, if we're not the lowest, we're going to be amongst the lowest price institutions in the state. Also, if you get in a situation where you get financial aid but doesn't cover everything, we make payment plans available throughout the semester so that you do not have to pay, whatever your responsibility part is, all in one lump. Of course, we got scholarship opportunities. Of course, we have financial aid, which gets into when you apply for financial aid, if you're eligible, you're looking at Pell Grants, FIA grants, work study, and private loans. And then we also have third parties who sometimes help students come to CCAC. And the one that we do a lot of things with, or a couple that we do a lot of things with, is the Pittsburgh Job Corps, and then also Career Link. And the Pittsburgh Job Corps, by the way, is a real excellent one because it allows you to come to CCAC with a bottom line being you can come for free if they sponsor you. And then, of course, Career Link does a lot of things for our older or adult learners in terms of retrainings and things of that nature. And then for students who come to CCAC who happen to be Pittsburgh Public Schools, of course, we have affiliation and work with the Pittsburgh Promise. Okay, numbers. These days, everybody wants to see what the numbers are, what the metrics. I think that's the new N word that people are using as far as data and statistics and so forth. So here's some metrics for you. 73% of CCAC students select CCAC as their first college of choice. Okay, and I think that's pretty significant because a lot of times students may have other choices, but a pretty big chunk of the population locally choose us as their number one choice. Okay, if you come to CCAC, one of the great things is you have access to 214 full-time teaching faculty. And that's significant too, because if you come to CCAC, you're gonna be taught by your instructor. You're not gonna have like a graduate assistant or something like that teaching you. You actually have a professor, full-time professor most of the time. Okay, another important fact or metric, if you want to look at it like that, and this has to do with our nursing program. I think you all know or may have heard that we have very good nursing programs. So there's an outfit called nursingprocess.org, and they kind of keep an eye on what the nursing programs are doing around the country and certainly in the Northeast. And so they say that CCAC is ranked number 10 out of 536 nursing schools in the Northeast region. So that's pretty good, I think. As far as learning environment, we got small classes, average class size about 16 students, and that may be smaller than some of the students' high school class sizes under normal circumstances. So that's a pretty good number. Usually, less students in the class, better learning situation. In terms of the value aspect of CCAC, again, not to beat a dead horse, if you come to CCAC as opposed to going to a public school, and that would be places like Pitt, Penn State, Temple, any of the public schools, and also the state system schools. If you work everything out mathematically over the course of 4 years, CCAC is going to save you about $24,000. Okay, and if you happen to be looking at or considering attending a private school, and locally that would mean schools like Duquesne and Robert Morris and Point Park and some of those, if you come to CCAC first and then I'll take that back. If you went to CCAC your first 2 years and then transferred, as opposed to just going straight to any of those institutions, you're going to save somewhere in the neighborhood of about $65,000. So I think that's pretty significant too. Two other numbers or metrics: 69% of CCAC students graduate debt-free. Okay, so for some of the students that are listening in, maybe you have heard your brothers or your sisters, or maybe people that you know who have gone to school and graduated and are now trying to pay their loans back, and a lot of them aren't real pleased about it. So the one thing that you can definitely do by coming to CCAC is you got a good chance to leave college debt-free. Okay, a lot of people say that if it wasn't for CCAC, they might not have been able to go to school. And actually, they tag a number of 42% who fit into that category. Okay, by coming to CCAC, you're not lacking anything. We got the same services, and in some cases even more services than some of the 4-year schools. So some of the things that I'm talking about would be academic advising, personal career counseling, academic and transfer counseling, resource navigators. And what those are folks we have who work for us, and they help students locate things that'll help them either go to school or stay in school. And that can be anything from helping them find a place to stay, or if they have food issues, they can help them locate food resources and any number of other things. In addition to that, we have what they call student success coaches. These are folks that work with students one-on-one to try to break down any barriers that are keeping them from being successful students. Then along with that, we have tutoring services where they help students one-on-one, so that if anybody's experienced any difficulty in any particular class, you can get one-on-one help. And then there's a number of other services we provide. One of the big ones here, amongst the rest of them here, is supportive services. And so we have a whole department dedicated to provide support for any student that has any kind of learning difficulty or any kind of physical limitation. And they will sit down with you and actually put together a personal plan, game plan, to help you so that you'll be successful at CCAC. When you go to college or university, you're there to learn, and that's what the bulk of your time is supposed to be spent at. However, you still got to have some breaks. You still got to have some things to break up the monotony and frankly find some fun things to do. So just like 4-year schools, we have a number of things from an activity standpoint that students can get involved with, clubs and organizations. We have intercollegiate athletics as well as intramural athletics. And on the intercollegiate aspect, we are a member of what they call the NJCCA, which is kind of like the baby brother of the NCAA. And so CCAC sport teams play against other colleges and sometimes universities as well, other community colleges and other colleges and universities. Okay, now, after going over what we look like, what we have to offer, services and so forth. We're getting down to the brass tacks, and that has to do with what do you have to do if you want to come to CCAC. So we'll talk briefly now about CCAC enrollment steps, or the things you have to do to come to CCAC. Number one, you have to complete an online admissions application, and you can do that right off of our homepage, ccac.edu. And when you do that, it's very much like when you buy something. And let me explain what I mean. Like if you buy something at Amazon, for example, before you actually make the purchase, they make you open an account, and then you make the purchase. What's the same situation with CCAC? You would open a CCAC account, and then that would bleed into the actual online application. Okay, second thing is you should apply for financial aid. The application that you do to see if you're eligible for financial aid is called the FAFSA, F-A-F-S-A. That's an acronym or abbreviation for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Okay, anybody in the United States who wants to see if they can get funding for post-secondary education, like college, or it could be other things as well, you have to fill out one of these things to determine if you're eligible. Okay, so you fill out your FAFSA. The other thing you want to do is you want to visit your guidance office and make arrangements to have your final transcript sent to CCAC. And that's your final transcript for the seniors. Okay, next thing is you have to schedule and complete, or what that means is to take our placement tests, okay? Now, here's a word on the placement test. Because of the pandemic, we were forced into doing remote placement testing. So that's what's in place right now. And so in terms of what that test consists of, it's actually broken up into two separate tests that you take separately. One test is the reading and writing exam. The other test is the mathematics exam. And there are what they call exemptions, so that depending on what a student situation is, they may or may not have to take both tests. Okay. And, not to throw too much information, but in terms of exemptions, an exemption, by the way, is a situation where you're excused from having to take the test. And the two important exemptions are, with regard to the reading and writing placement test, if you are carrying or graduate with a 2.7 or higher grade point average, then you will get an exemption from having to take our reading and writing placement test. Okay. With regard to the math, and under normal circumstances, and I know this is a year where things have not been normal, but if you took an SAT test and you scored 550 or higher on the math portion of the SAT, that would also grant you an exemption. Or if you took the ACT test and you got a 21 in the math portion of that test, that would also grant you an exemption. Okay, I know, or I've been told that relatively few students have taken the SATs this year because of the pandemic. So I'm guessing anybody who's a senior now probably either will have to take the reading and writing tests, or they may have to take both tests. Almost everyone, I would think, would have to take the math test because not too many people have probably taken SATs or ACTs. Okay, and then part of that process gets into, you have to create something called a net ID. A net ID is another form of login that enables you to take the placement test, but a number of other different services at the college. Okay, and what you'll do also as part of your process is you're going to visit our registration welcome center. You'll meet with academic advisor, and you'll register for your classes. And then finally, the final part is you make arrangements to pay if you have any kind of balance with our student accounts area. Okay, if you want to get in contact with us or check us out, ccac.edu is our website. If you have any general types of questions, you can send them to our inbox, our admissions inbox, and that email address would be admissions@ccac.edu. And then finally, if you want to talk to someone over the phone, you can reach us at 724-325-6614.